Hello and welcome to my channel, Reversetrauma. I wanted to say if you're new here, but actually I am, because this is my second video I'm recording. I hope that you like it enough to join me and subscribe and give me a thumbs up for the hard work. But this video is some sort of a manifesto for my channel. And as you might have noticed, I just went through nose job and I'm gonna talk about that. Why I did it, basically. So I'm one of those people that try really hard not to look like the majority, as if it's a curse of living in modern times. So I rebel against the cliche, the common, the predictable. And if you come to me one day, having the best at heart, but telling me that I look like someone you know, I'll get offended because it makes me feel so replaceable, so unseen.
You look familiar. Joey, look at this guy's mug.
Yeah, you know, I could have sworn I've seen this guy before.
Yeah.
But if you truly know someone like me in real life, you know that our taste in almost everything is not as gothic or bohemian or as exotic as you might expect. It is too blended in, sometimes even trendy. So what is the result of such constant need of standing out? Well, unless you are fighting on the front line of such draining internal battle, you probably can't spot it easily. Because we don't try to make a fuss. Seeking attention, being the center of attention, is so beneath us that we build this fortified sanctuary, this comfort zone in our brain. And of course it makes us isolated, but it also makes us feel like the main character. We are so superior, we get to judge you over trivial mistakes that you make. And you might think that this whole attitude might unfold with sarcasm or pride, but how can we look you in the eye, being aware of the chain of thought that is going under? This is shameful to admit, but I hope you don't judge because a lot of you are actually like me. This is the irony. One day you're scrolling down Instagram and you come across this content. It tells you that exclusive experience of yours is not really exclusive. We are all apparently living the same life.
Light up a candle, side with the light, align with the flame, hide from the night, unwelcome butterflies, keep them in the tomb, seal them inside, buried in the womb. A trace of us, chasing the drama, rehearse the chorus, reverse the trauma. A trace of us, chasing the drama, rehearse the chorus, reverse the trauma.
Anyway, how can somebody like me follow beauty standards? Deliberately going through surgery under their scalpel. Well, you might have guessed this. Something really hit me hard this year. Something tragic indeed. Death of a close friend. I'm not going to go into details of that. But death to me was always something that had happened to a distant family member that I see only once or twice a year. The teacher of a friend I only heard of. But this time it was too close. I couldn't reflect on it at first, but later I realized that it was death disguised as being common that I was trying to run away from. I was trying so hard, desperately, to circle myself out, but it was my silly, childish way of cheating death. When she passed away, I was constantly asking myself, where did that energy go? Because she was full of life. I constantly ask myself, where is she now? Is she anywhere? And then I thought, if I'm gonna go so interrupted, because when is that point that you sit with yourself and say, okay, I'm done here. Lord, please take me, or I don't know. You think that you've lived fully. I think most of us will die interrupted. So I thought, if that's the case, I want to accelerate life. I don't want to postpone it anymore. I had my first trip abroad this year. I married the love of my life. I had the wedding, and she was on top of my guest list. But I do remember the exact moment that I booked the appointment with my surgeon. It was when I was reading this book, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And I know it's a classic. A lot of you might have read it already. I'm not gonna spoil it for those who haven't. If you have read it, you might tell me that, girl, this should have convinced you not to go through with surgery. And for those of you who haven't read this is the story of a really handsome boy that sees his own portrait one day and wishes that it would age instead of him, and he remains untouched by time. So every vanity, sinful act, every wrinkle is absorbed by the portrait that he hides in the attic. Of course, it's a secret of his. He doesn't want to put it on display. But I thought, well, I don't want to die with my portrait still in the attic. I don't think that the tragedy was vanity. I don't think that he was wrong for wanting every beautiful thing in the world and experiencing every emotion. That cannot be the great sin. The great tragedy was that he never built a life worth aging into. He didn't have a plan for his senior years. But I want to make it my life project, aging project. I'm not just talking about the surface. I'm not just talking about the looks. I know that this portrait has been drawn for you. It's editable up to a point. You would have loved the Botox if you lived now, but it's not about surface. It's about financials, having a passive income, having a family of your chosen people, not just bound to you by blood, but people you like to be surrounded by. It's about health and maybe leaving a legacy. Not all of us are lucky enough for that, but this channel is actually a part of that aging project. For those of you out there struggling with loss of a loved one, you might realize that death now feels like a car crash in slow motion. You didn't see it before. It was too slow for you to trigger action, but now it is everywhere you look, or at least for the first few months. But I want you not to feel vanilla for desiring things that the majority desires: the beauty, the care, the attention. We are human beings. We are mortal, so we should act like that. That's my manifesto. I hope that I see you really soon. Love you all. Bye bye.